This is Kal Kat, the Kal Katster, and I am going to watch Star Trek Discovery in 3 minutes. I will then comment on the entire show. The whole thing. I'll comment on it. It's going to be on in 2 minutes, and then I can't film the show because I will get flagged. But here's the show, and I'm going to watch the show right now, and then I'm going to comment on it afterward, and I'm going to give it away. Dun, 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 dun. The season premiere of Star Trek Discovery. Yes, it's called the Vulcan Hello. This review, because of the nature of the story, will contain spoilers. So we're going to spoil it right away. The story takes place in 2256, approximately 100 years after Star Trek Enterprise. It appears to be a follow-up to Star Trek Enterprise. Taking place, it's been 100 years since they've had contact with the Klingons. And there's trouble brewing. Well, at first it starts out with this, they're on a desert planet. Saru and Burnham are on the planet. And, or is it Shinzou? The names are confusing. The girl, the female captain, Shinzou, and Burnham. They're on the planet, and you said it in the trailer, they had like the planet, they make a sign in the ground so they can get back up to the ship. The Shinzou looks like a cross between the Akira ship and the NX-01, but slightly newer. The engines look like they come from the Next Generation, but they're not, I guess. They have the several effects from the original show in there, like the chirping computer effect, which was actually several different things, but mainly in the original 60s era, they thought that computers would make clunking chirping noises because they did in the 60s. So that's what started that. Yeah, so this one pays homage to some of that stuff, uses some of the hardware from both. They've got a rifle that looks vaguely like the one from the Cage. They have other things that are vaguely similar, tricorders and communicators. The ship in the pilot episode is called the Shinzou. It's apparently about 8 decks, maybe 9, somewhere around there. It's a little bigger than the Enterprise NX-01. Yeah, it's a little bigger. There's a spacewalk scene that happens. They send her out to do a spacewalk. They find this alien beacon in a binary star system, and they go to investigate it. And they don't know, but they keep cutting back and forth to this Klingon monastery mummification glyph monastery thing that's going on out there, and there's this like a sarcophagus ship floating around, and the Klingons are doing twisted rituals involving the dead or recently dead, and they sacrifice one of their officers alive to Stovacor. And they mention Kales a lot, and they are presumably the religious Klingons that were encountered 2 centuries later in Next Generation, or some offshoot of them, which is kind of cool. Yeah, so that's all related, although they look slightly different. The idea is that they are a cast of Klingons that's based on an earlier group of Klingons. So, okay. So they're like the true Klingons. Yeah. The diplomatic Klingons are different. They mentioned the Vulcans had dealings with the Klingons and fired on them, but that seems a little odd. Yeah. Yeah, so the Klingons are about to attack as the thing ends, but they... burn it. And there are, in order to explain the plot of the story, you kind of have to give it a lot of it away. This review is spoilery. It's not going to be very long because it's a pilot. Also, other channels are sure to analyze it to death. But yeah, so basically the Klingons are about to attack. The first officer, Burnham, tries to trap the captain so that she can take over, but it doesn't work. She ends up getting tossed in the brig. The Klingons are moving in, and their fleet is attacking just as we roll credits. So, pretty much, if you've seen that long trailer, this is pretty much step by step, beat by beat, what happens in the pilot. So, it's right there. The Mud character is apparently in a later episode. Apparently there's a fight that happens. That is beat by beat in the second trailer. There's a fight. As far as previews go, there was a boring new cop show, the boring return of Survivor, a Star Trek convention in October at the Hyatt in San Francisco SFO. It's too soon for a Trek convention. I can't possibly get out there in the middle of October, it being late September now. But perhaps if they have another one, Creation 2 has started up again, and they're going to do more conventions, which is awesome. Just now we can reveal that. They are going to have new conventions in San Francisco, so that's real exciting. Now we can reveal that. We can also reveal that young Sheldon is a thing, and that's coming out soon. I have no interest in watching the high school age Sheldon in high school. Like, that's really boring. I don't want to see him as an awkward teenager. That's stupid. Yeah. Or an awkward little kid playing a teenager. No. Dumb. So, that's something else coming out. Yeah, CBS All Access. CBS All Access will air the rest of the series. Mark's Cards is not buying CBS All Access, and I'm not either. We cannot afford it. If we're going to go to other things and conventions and other things like that, in order to see this, we'll have to wait until it's secondhand somehow. Not sure how that's going to work. Maybe European Netflix or something. But yeah, not bootleg though. We're not going to do it that way. So yeah, whenever the episodes come out free, we can review other ones. But we'll continue to review the Orville. And actually, we won't know anything about this until CBS cancels it. Because they probably will. Because they're putting it on All Access and they're putting all their apples in one cart. And they're saying, basically, we're going to not show any of this on television, which is a big mistake because, no, you got to show it on TV as well. You can't just make this the flagship of your new All Access show. That's a very poor idea. The people in charge of this one, the new one, did not list Nick Meyer really in the credits. It was mostly Avocada, Kurtzman, and whatnot. It's funny that it said by Gene Roddenberry and Alex Kurtzman. Now, when Star Trek, Starship Chimera, the Star Trek parody comes out next year, 2018, it'll just say based on Star Trek by Gene Roddenberry. I'm not going to throw my name on it. Come on, that's just cheesy. It's like, come on, no. But yeah, the end credits, executive producers, yeah, me and Mark Cards. But anyway, so yeah, so there is another Star Trek fanfic coming soon, in a couple months, and it'll be out. And Mark Cards is off in Hawaii very soon, and I'm not going. I'm here. There's a toy show in a week and a half. I don't think I'll be able to make that. Because there's other stuff going on the 30th and October 1st. As far as I know. Yeah, I wouldn't be doing anything to do that. So, anyway, this is my review of Star Trek Discovery. Well, yeah, what did I think of it? I didn't say that. Well, it was a better pilot than the Orville pilot. A lot more action and suspense and stuff. For a new generation, it's not the Star Trek I grew up on. It's the Star Trek the next generation will grow up on. This is the next generation. Suffice it to say, as Trek core, many Trek core old fans agree, and original old school fans agree, including Sailot V and some of the other ones. Let's see, Gustavo and all the Trek web people that went over to Trek Corps, because that's what they went over to. We all went over to Trek Corps. This other they should have made this 30 years in the future. They should have just said it's TNG era, but it's 30 years. It would have fit perfectly if they said it's 2394, and the Klingons haven't been seen for 30 years. Boom, there's your story. It totally would fit. But, it would be before the game, but it would be, somewhere in the between. But it's 2296, 2256 instead. And apparently it's not set in the Abrams verse. It's sort of set in its own timeline. It is its own timeline. Trek Yards was right. It has to be its own timeline because there's no mention of this protege or / stepsister of Spock in any of the other incarnations. So it has to be its own timeline. We don't know how far back this timeline was altered. My guess is probably similar to Trek Yards in that the Enterprise NX series is already a change in the timeline. So that everything from NX-01 and on is already a different universe. It's not the Kelvin timeline, it's the other timeline. It's the NX-01 timeline. That's what this is. It's the NX-01 timeline. Okay. That's what's going on. So, and yes, it would be set just before the events of Axanar. So that's why, they got sued because they made money on their studio. We're not making money. Not at all. They got sued because they made money. But also they got sued because they wanted to do an Axanar-like story at Paramount, at CBS. So that's the other reason they couldn't have two, which is stingy of them. They certainly can't have two. A fan film version with actors in it not being paid should have been accepted. They should have just said, well, that's fine. Same thing with Requiem, which is set during TNG era, 2388, 89. I think the new one's a little later. Yeah, but it's supposed to be later, the 90s. But 2390s. That one also didn't need to change all the names around because they weren't making money either. So, yeah, that guidelines is screwy. I would just ignore the length of the guidelines. On your fan film, I would ignore the stringent rules about how many episodes, because fan films usually don't make more than 2 or 3 episodes anyway. They're usually not Star Trek Continues. They don't usually make a bunch of them. They usually make one. It's very rare you get something like Spectre of the Past where the guy made 3 3-hour video game inlaid things, just went on, did this huge epic. Don't necessarily do that, but that's just what somebody did. And it's before the damn thing happened. But also don't make it, make it like Horizon. Star Trek Horizon was fine. Or the New Frontier saga thingy. They did not address anyone same-sex in this pilot. They were mainly concerned with introducing some of the characters. I'm not sure what the Saruga, the death alien, I'm not sure what he's supposed to be. But okay. Sure. But, yeah, I like the uniforms, but it's not Star Trek. I would say the uniforms are more like new BSG. They're reminiscent of Navy outfits. It'll be interesting to see what they do when they introduce the Discovery. It's all about the Shinzou so far. But yeah, this is my review, and I rambled on, but hey, it's my review of the movie, of the show. The fans will ask, well, there are some people that read the channel, but like and subscribe. But also, they'll ask, were you in it? No, I was not in it. No, we were not connected to any of the Canadian filmed Star Treks. Yeah. The Beyond was filmed in Canada, and this one was also filmed in Canada. We're not involved. And we're not on the game yet. Which when we do a game, or Star Trek online at some point. Yeah, and I was working on the novel versions of the Starship Locations classic novels, all the way up to 30 years of them out there. And I have sussed out how that's going to work. That's spread out there. Mark's Cards advised if there's going to be anything from the extra files that are the Bullshido thing, that have to be pretty much changed all around, just because, yeah, we don't really want to piss anyone off in the from the former stories, from the former series, and yeah, it's probably a good thing. Yeah, even if it's for all in fun. So yeah, if you make people you encountered before your supervillains and you don't get permission, it's not good. So change their names and make their personality a little different so that you don't get in trouble. but yes, so yeah, some names were confused. But yeah, you'll sure. Discovery, Star Trek Discovery. It's called the Vulcan Hello. Yeah, 1 hour only pilot, which is odd. And trying to make you go to CBS All Access. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna happen. It's just. No. If this was a Netflix show everywhere in America, apparently it is everywhere but America. Get it on Netflix. Have it on Netflix. Put it on CW next week, like in reruns. Put it on the air. Put it on TV. What are you guys doing? Come on. That's how it works. That's how the Disney and the Star Wars works. You put it on TV. Yeah. They know what they're doing over there at Disney and Marvel. I'm not saying that because any under the table deals. Nope, not at all. Yeah, if we had any dealings with Marvel, I would think we would be pretty popular. But no. We were privy to some of the stuff just because we were in the park. Well, speaking of Disneyland, very tentatively, the first week of November 2019, we will be back at Disneyland Park. Maybe this time we'll get better footage. Wasn't our fault. We tried to record the musical numbers and it flagged us. Which is silly because, yeah, it's fan stuff. Should get flagged. Yeah, fans in the park. It's like, really? Even though I said no, this is where I got all this stuff from. Anyway, so, yeah. Hard to believe it. I was like, wow. It's been a while. 2019 will be the 10th anniversary of returning in 2009. So, that'll be cool. But yeah, the things this fall coming up. Let's see, Star Wars, Christmas Eve. Star Wars will be out on Christmas weekend. It's going to be insane. Episode 8. There is a scene in there that you should like. Yeah, but check that out. See the Easter egg in there from one of the Star Wars people. There's an Easter egg in there. You can almost see it in the trailer. But it's, yeah. So cool. Yeah. Right on. And they've apparently rebooted DuckTales. I had nothing to do with that, really. The ducks on the wall was not me. Not at all. Anyway, so, something else. Trek ducks. Somebody else thought of that too, actually. Star Trek ducks. It's funny that the duck thing, because it's funny that now the new show is following more of the original duck comic book from the original guy that wrote Three Amigos. More closer than the original cartoon was. A little bit. Well, the costume anyway. Yeah, so Discovery. Star Trek Discovery. The Vulcan Hello. Now they really need to explain how that subspace stuff works, because You're a freaking like different star system, like thousands of light years away. How would you have real time communication? Come on. My sci-fi stories I kind of explain well. Well, they've got hyperspace communications, basically. It would have to travel faster than the ship's communications and faster than light, even, to make that work. Like, yeah. We can talk about sci-fi later on the first episode of Starship Locations. But that's later. Which will predate the launch of the movie at some point coming up. We'll do a more of a discussion thing. So, and the 30th anniversary of TNG. Why not? Long, prosper.